Shalom, shalom. This is Threshold Treasures, and I'm Jennifer, and I just welcome you to the class tonight. So, Father, thank you so much for this time. Thank you for your presence that's already with us and holding us in your truth, in your heart, in your presence in the secret place. No matter what we carried today, on our shoulders, in our hands, in our body, Lord, we ask, Father, that you would cover us and allow us to give up those things we hold for this moment, these moments. And perhaps, Lord, at the end of these shared moments in this class, you would give back to us the things we're only meant to carry. And you keep those burdens that we're not supposed to carry. I thank you, Holy Spirit, for being the Spirit of truth, our teacher. Thank you, Living Letters, for coming forward tonight in this class and the teaching in Psalm 91 and really giving us strategies to see beyond what's face value and to pull up and pull out the fire seeds of faith, love, hope as we look with our eyes and observe that which is presented before us. So, Father, thank you that we're not to be afraid, that we're standing in faith. And thank you in advance for all you're going to teach all of us tonight. And it's through Yeshua's name I pray. Amen. So let me get started on the screen here. Oops. Oh, hold on a second. All right, do you see the first slide? Okay. All right. So tonight is December 16th, and we're going over Psalm 91, verse 7 and 8 in our live class. If you're watching the recording, obviously, it may not be the 16th because I won't have it to you until then, till later this week. So if you want to join the live classes, you're more than welcome to. Just email me and we can go from there. I'm going to reiterate again our starting point. So our starting place is Psalm 91 in the established, rooted, and anchored, hidden, secret, and intimate place, which is lifted above the plane of the ordinary existence. I recognize this place of majestic position carries the authority of the Most High. I will find the fleeting covering where the temporary night season will pass in safety, because Almighty will fight my battle and will deal greatly with me in my trial as I yield in rest. I have to continually tell myself that this is where I'm at, that I begin my days in the secret place. I end my days in the secret place. I spend my night season in the secret place. And again, the Almighty is the mothering and fathering of God. God is the source of all of creation. It's the full expression, both the mothering and the fathering voices coming to guide us with love and kindness and give us the boundary protection for the creation of who I am, who you are in Yeshua, and even before. So Moshe wrote this psalm. He definitely felt, I would say he felt Yeshua's presence, even though Yeshua hadn't come to earth yet. Okay. But he wrote this. So he experienced this place. And how much so in the first covenant that Moshe wrote this and experienced it. And now we are in the resurrection, power and authority through Yeshua. How much more so can we stand there with confidence? And in that confidence, we can declare, our verse 2, we can declare that Yahweh is my haven and hideaway. He is my fortress and stronghold, and He is my Elohim, my personal experience, right, of God, the encounter. And in that personal experience, I trust in Elohim. I trust in you. I can declare this over and over again. That is my declaration when I wake up. That is my declaration when I lay down and rest at night in the nighttime seasons. We can say this and declare this and living it and building that faith, hope, trust, confidence in Yahweh, because then we see the promises. We see the promises of the Most High God, Elyon, Shaddai, the mothering and fathering of the Father and Mother, and the encompassing expression of God. I have a hard time like filling the ineffable God with, like, how do I describe him, right? Every name that we could call upon is the source in multiple expressions. And in that, we have all of these promises, the promises of deliverance, the first, let's see, verses 3, 4, 5, and 6. The deliverance is the ongoing and open ending, and it's inexhaustible. So I can call upon deliverance and I can be delivered even if I don't know it, right? If I recognize it or not, I am delivered. Covers like the talit. That's another promise in verse 3 and 4, where are covered in the talit, that like prayer shawl, that intimate space of communion with one-on-one with our Father and Mother. And that is also ongoing experience. It's an ongoing action of covering. And in that place, remember, we can take flight. It's like that flight feathers lifting us up higher and higher to soar upon the winds of the Father, the winds of Ruach HaKodesh. Another promise is his truth and faithfulness, and that holds the provision to stand against the enemy or adversary at every point of temptation. And finally, our promise is that we are absolutely not to be afraid, and that promise comes in every provision when we can transmute the fear into that place of truth and faithfulness. And it's through shalom that we do that. And last week we talked about the transmutability of taking verses 5 and 6 through the living letters and transmuting them through shalom, through mem, the peaceful waters, and receiving the promises at every word. So there is this expression where we can take the living letters and bring about a promise. Tonight, we're going to talk about verses 7 and 8. And again, I have three different translations for us. The first is out of the NASB. So these might seem redundant, but they are different nuances through the translations, and I love to study and read a lot of different ones. I picked out three, and they're the same three that we've been looking at. NASB 1995 says, 1,000 may fall at your side and 10,000 at your right hand, but it shall not approach you. You will only look on with your eyes and see the recompense of the wicked. The Amplified is a little bit more expounded, right? 1,000 may fall at your side and 10,000 at your right side, but it shall not come near you. Only a spectator shall you be, yourself inaccessible to the secret place of the Most High. I'm sorry, inaccessible in the secret place of the Most High, as you witness the reward of the wicked. And the third translation I have is the Complete Jewish Bible. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it won't come near you. Only keep your eyes open, and you will see how the wicked are punished. So let's take a look at the first of these two verses, but I guess before that, let's look at the Hebrew for the two verses. And I'm going to practice this a lot tonight in the class on how to say them. So the first two verses in Hebrew, you have the Hebrew letters and the transliteration for the Hebrew. Again, I do encourage you to practice the frequency of the letters. So it would say in Hebrew, Yipol mitzedecha elef urevava miyeminecha elecha lo yigash rak be'enecha tabit vishilumat reshayim tilrei. And I'm still practicing and learning. I haven't gotten it. Um, well, I am just, I don't think it'll ever be perfect. There you go. So in essence, this is saying again, 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it won't come near you. Only keep your eyes open and you will see how the wicked are punished. Let's look at the first verse tonight, verse 7. Yipol mitzedecha elef, urevava miyeminecha elecha lo yigash. Again, here it is in English. I know it seems repetitive, but it's good to work on repeat, right? We're going to get it. We're sinking it in. It's sinking into our soul here. So let's look at the first word, yipol, and we have it here on the left side, and you've got yod, pei, lamed. Yipol is a verb. It's an ongoing incomplete action, and it means to fall. The root word for this is nafal, and it's masculine. So again, masculine, think of giving. So masculine gives, and it means to fall to the ground. And the action here is to fall to the ground continuously. So it's like forever. And we'll get to who is the subject of this, who keeps falling to the ground. And I want to kind of give you an insight in Yipol. The root word starts the noon. It's a Nepal. But Yipol starts with the letter Yod. And Yod is the letter where it really transfers the tense of the action from present to future. So we're sensing the strength of Yod right here in this word. And Yod has the authority and the ability to dictate a future and ongoing action. So think about the strength of Yod every time we see it beginning a verb, okay? And the reflection, now the reflections are kind of engagements and through the living letters. So again, the living letter is in parentheses, so I'm not going to read that. You can read it. So I'm going to kind of give us the engagement, and you can see where the letters would fall. And I'm hoping you're becoming familiar with the letters as they are living and active and inviting us into engage them. They're want to engage with us more so than we want to engage with them. And so this is that give and take relationship with the living letter. So the reflection of Yipol is through the divine spark with the power to multiply the voice's frequency, to rise like fragrant incense and ascend above the chaos into the heart of Father to hear his truthful teachings. Again, the yod is that spark. Pei, now there's a double pei here, and it's kind of that secret mystery. Pei has to do with the mouth. So the second little phrase here, the power to multiply the voice's frequency. There's that hidden mystery of the double pei, right? You could say where one pei is the voice, the second pei is an echo. Or you've got the mouth releasing the power and the frequency just resounding. And what is it doing? It's rising like the fragrant incense, and it ascends above the chaos. So we're ascending through the living letters. We're going up higher. We're going into another dimension where chaos can't rule us. So right at the offset, we've got this ascending ability into the Father's heart to hear the truth, hearing the truth beyond just the surface level of what we're reading. Okay. So if we go to our next word, so the first one is yipol, and here we've got mitzedecha. Now, mitzidecha is a constructed word, and it's got a prefix, and the prefix is mem. Mem means at, from, out, or out of, and it carries water. So it carries living water. It carries, the source here is from Shalom still, okay? And we've got Zad, Mitze Decha. So the Zad is the two letters on the next row, and they're a noun, and the root is Zad. And Zad is a masculine, so again, think giving. And Zad is a side, or it's figuratively for an adversary. So think of an adversary not in front of you, but at the side. Okay. And the kaf sofit, is a suffix, and it's the second personal pronoun, and it means your. Now, the hidden side of our posture is steadfast and strong and supported in the secret place. Now, you might be asking, what do you mean the hidden side? If you look at the second row where we've got two letters, it's Zadi and Dalet. We'll see that each of them has a little dot in its belly. And the dot in its belly means that it's a doubling. Okay, so keep that for a moment. So, and also the hiddenness here, I'm going to talk a little bit. It says side, and side is kind of general. We're going to get to the next phrase, which is more specific. Side here alludes to the left hand. Now, we'll pull it together when we get to our next phrase. But here I want to introduce a left hand to you. It's general, yes. But when we look at the hinted, like scripture's hinting at something here as an an inference that this is a left side. And that word is shmol. And it can mean left hand, left side, or even north. So just kind of hold that in your cap for right now, and we'll talk a little bit more about that in our next phrase. So this general side, zad, is given here, and it's going to show us an open door. Now, we talked a little bit about mem being the reminder for us to be in our position and our posture, holding the promises and the provisions of Yahweh as we faced the tempters, or we faced the snares, we faced those temptations that come our way. Still holding on to the double sade and the dalet, those are both doubled in this word. And there's the hiddenness where we start to see the posture of our own hearts in that hidden side, perhaps within, right, our other side. We're multidimensional people. So we have one side and we have another side that we know, but others can't see. In the secret place, if we take that that side of us, the secret place, it's seen by Yahweh very clearly. And even those who have eyes to see, those eyes of faith to see, and the gift of faith or gift of sight, and they would see the expression of who we truly are. And we can also see it through the living letters. So if we pull in the reflection here, embracing mem. Mem is our water. So we're embracing mem, and these waters are in shalom. We are remembering our true identity in righteousness, and it's a door of engagement revealing the hidden side of righteousness and that door of the Tzaddik. The righteous, and Tzaddik is the righteous one who holds Father's intention to release the flow of waters through the open palm of the hand into the earth. So right here, if we can meditate on that, we're seeing that we are part of the blessing into the earth. And Zad, that side, it's representing the Tzaddik, and the Tzaddik is a righteous one. We are in Yeshua righteous ones. And when we hold that posture, we can and are seen as a tzaddik. As that, how much do we have influence into the world around us to bring blessing and bring hope? Transmute the fear and bring about the hope. So, right here in our second word, we have the blessing to give. Okay? Our third word in our first phrase is Aleph. Aleph is a number, and it's both masculine and feminine. So think about Aleph being that conduit that receives and gives. And yes, it's a number and it means thousand, but it functions as a substantive, and that means just standalone noun. So Aleph is the subject of this phrase, and I believe this verse. So as a number, this subject, it's 1,000, but it represents so much more than that. Kind of I would say a little mystery here. Aleph, Lamed, and Pe Sofit also changing the vowels, and you have the word Aleph, the letter Aleph. The very first word of the alphabet represents the Father, his presence, his strong silent presence. So even here in Aleph, the number, we have the presence of the Father first and foremost. Kind of cool. And that's transmuting the meaning of thousand here, because we'll see that thousand represents our adversary. But even in the representation of our adversary, our Father is present. Looking at the reflection, the Father's strong, silent presence lifting us above the chaos and bringing back to earth his sound to release into the earth to establish loving kindness and boundaries in harmony. That gives me such hope. And even face value, this is describing a different scenario, but let's look with practice below the surface, looking through the living letters, and we're seeing God is here. The Mother, Father is here, and we are making a difference in the earth. As we receive and come into this, I would say, constant reminder of who we truly are, we are blessing the earth just by being. Let's take this phrase. Now, I know that we want to capture the whole verse, so we're going to go phrase by phrase. Yipol misadecha aleph. That is to say, literally, falling, an ongoing open-ended action at your side, 1,000. Remember, 1,000 here is the subject. And I have 3 sentences that could probably describe this, right? We could rephrase it and say, at your side, where the adversary cannot stand in front of you, the 1,000 is falling. The second way we could maybe say this is, the 1,000 is falling at your left by parallel inference, at your left side, because the adversary cannot stand in front of you or be near you. Okay? Third way we could maybe say this is more simply, right? Any 1,000 in adversarial pursuit shall continually fall at your side. Taking this first phrase, I found 4 things. Number 1, I can see the protection of Yahweh. For me personally, I can see that promised protection. And 2, by the side, it's general terms, right? But we alluded to it's inferring a more specific, maybe left side, left hand, or even north when we look deeper into the words. The third thing is I'm catching the verb is an open-ending state by the hand of Yod. So Yod's power to make something present ongoing. And here it's the blessing that the enemy, we will see, the thousand, is falling continually. And the fourth thing I saw was this thousand is more than a number. Yes, it does represent the adversary, and as many would come against you or me, they shall not stand because you and I are in the secret place on high in Yahweh. We are clothed with Yahweh's protection as that armor force field, which emanates a boundary and a perimeter of protection of his presence. Now that's what we went over in verses 3 and 4, that we are clothed with Yahweh's presence. We are hedged and we are protected. So there is a lot of promises here for us that we are remembering. Let's look at the next phrase. Urevava miyemenecha. Urevava is a prefix. It's a vav, but it's a very specific vav. It's called a sharuk. So yes, it's the vav, but the dot in the belly of the vav, its name is a sharuk, and it's a full vowel. It still means and. It's still a connector and a conjunction. But I'm introducing sharuk again to you. So yes, it's a vav, but it's a special vav called a sharuk. At the beginning of a word, it still represents the conjunction and. Revava, the root is ravav, and it's a noun and it's feminine. So feminine is receiving something. And the definition, it means to be many, to multiply. It's a multitude or a myriad. Okay. And I'm going to go right to the reflection here. The heaven and earth connection has a secret within, which is the head and the beginning of the invitation into the house of intimacy for a further engagement in hiddenness, to receive and behold the breath of life, receiving a cherished blessing, producing life. Now, again, this is stirring up in me that I am a source of blessing. As I step away from the snares and the traps and stepping beyond, I know that I'm building this space for my healing, and I'm giving, as I'm receiving, I'm giving out blessings. We continue on to miyemeneka, and this is a constructed word again. So we've got a prefix mem, again, mem meaning at, from, out of. It's a source of something. Yemen, I'm struggling with this word because it wants to keep adding syllables, and so I feel like a runaway train. So I'm trying to hold it back a little bit. So forgive me on that. Miyemenecha is the root Yemen, and it's again feminine. So think receiving. And it means right side, south, strength, a favored side, or right as in the place of strength. All throughout the scripture, we see this word and translated as the right hand of the Father, the right side of strength, at his right hand. This all is this word, Yemen. And here, miyemenecha is adding the suffix pronoun your. So in essence, this construct word is at your right hand or favored side. Remember, I talked about the inference of the general side being left side? Well, here, this is where, in this phrase, miyemenecha is right side or from your right side. So this is specific. And in I guess the Psalms, you could say, in the literature, the poetry literature, they the writers often give you a general, like a generic, and then later a specific that counterbalances or parallels the specific, the specific word in the parallel. So if we have right hand or right side, the general is hinted at being the parallel here, right hand, left hand. We've got two hands here, again hinting at the zad, which is side, right side, left side. So we're seeing the parallels here, and it's not straightforward. It's at the hinted at understanding. And that's the remez in Hebraic thought and Hebraic learning. So in this phrase, Yemen is that specified spatial reference of right. Okay. And we could say that at that right side also in Hebrew, that's where they had their weapons, or at their right side, that right side of strength. I hope I didn't muddy that for you and you could follow me. So here is our reflection, looking through again the living letters. So we are remaining in shalom, flowing with the divine spark of creation, receiving abundant water, with mother and father's frequency held in the mature sun, releasing the frequency through the open palm of the hand into the hidden places into the earthly realm. Again, this is about us. This is about us who are in entanglement with Yeshua, and we are as He is now in this earth. He needs us, He wants us. We have been designed to be in this particular time and season to bring about blessing into the earth. We are reconciling the earth through our identity when we walk and we see beyond the face value to really pull in this blessing as we're healing ourselves, we heal the world. And I'm seeing this really big um, upward motion for our lives and our significance right now as we're standing in the identity of who we were always meant to be. So we're taking our second phrase here. Urevava miyemenecha. It could be the first word and the multitude or the myriad at your right hand, which is a place of strength. And we could say this we could bring this into a sentence or part of a phrase. As their numbers increases exponentially, right? As their numbers increase exponentially, the multitude or the myriad, they continue to fall. Where at your right hand of strength and power. Now don't forget our first phrase. So we're gonna be building upon these, right? We're not forgetting anything. So any thousand in adversarial pursuit shall continue to fall at your side. As their numbers increase exponentially, that multitude continues to fall at your right hand of strength and power. Okay, we're not done yet. Let's take the last three words of our first verse here. We've got elecha. Elecha is a preposition with a suffix. So this preposition, I broke it out here. So the first line is, the root word is el, and it means to or toward. And the second is cha, which is a suffix, so it's an ending, and it is this personal pronoun for you. What's really interesting is when I'm looking in the Blue Letter Bible, which was one of my sources when I'm looking at it, below the surface for understanding in the depth of the Hebraic mind, this word is only translated as you. So I would have totally missed the first word here, el, as a preposition that's saying something is coming toward me or something's coming toward you. Okay, so we are grabbing onto that preposition and it's called a personal directional claim. So something's coming toward you. Okay, so we're going to hold this word, elecha, as we step into the next two words. But let's look at the reflection here. So as we look through the living letters, we've got Father's breath and strong silent presence, manifesting his heart with intention to bring about his divine fire spark to release through you. All right, so here, this is us releasing through you as he is the source of your supply, flowing through your open palm, the open palm hands, into the earth with gentle and humble release. I hope you can see yourself in the midst of the living letters as God is pulling you into the story of the living letters and the living letters into your story and bringing your identity into significance. Well, it's always been in significance, but revealing to you and to me the depth of our significance and how much the adversary is a liar. Selah. Lo Yagash. Lo Yagash are two words. Lo is a negative particle, and it means not, will not, and it's absolute negation. Do you remember that in the last teaching we had in verses 5 and 6, lo tira is the same lo, so it's the same negative particle of absolute prohibition to what? To be afraid. We spent a lot of time in a discussion last week about what not to be afraid and how we transmuted the fear into a promise. Here again, lo will absolutely not. Well, what's the verb here? Yagash. Yagash is that verb, and it means to approach, draw near, or come close. Now, again, we've got the prefix yod here. Remember the yod with the power of the yod to bring something from present into future. So we can say that this lo, not, refers to the negation of something coming near us continually. Okay? Something that's trying to come near us all of the time is being held at bay. It's being held back through God's permanent hand to allow it to come close to us. That's an amazing promise. So we can say this personal claim that the adversary is emphatically prohibited. It cannot approach, advance, or move in any direction toward you, toward me, because you and we are protected against any harmful threat manifesting. The only way a threat can manifest is if we allow it. Through what? Through fear. We are the one that permits it. And God is providing this absolute prohibition. His hand is in front of us, negating it. And what would cause the enemy to come close is if we allow God, if we move God's hand out, or we provide that other way of the enemy getting through. Okay? We are the ones that open ourselves up to that space. God's provision is the negation. Why does it come through? Because we allow it. So let's look at the reflection here. We've got two of them. The first, lo, arise upon the ladder into heaven and into the heart of Father to engage the burden bearer and listen to his protective heart of kindness. Yagash, harness the divine spark and prepare for the journey within and the journey outward into the fire of transformation. So what do I mean here in this second Yagash? There's a hidden gimel through, if you look at the second line here, we've got the yod, the gimel, and the shin. The gimel has a dot in its belly. Gimel represents a camel. The word for camel is gamel. Okay, so gimel is represented by a camel, and what does a camel do? It takes us on a journey. So if gimel is present, and gimel is, it represents a journey, but that journey is fully supplied with whatever we're going to need for the whole journey. The full provision is given in the gimel. The hidden part of gimel, so there's two of them here. I see the hidden one coming forward first in that journey within me, the journey within I would say the journey to maturing as a mature son. We're all on that journey. And the second journey, the second gimel represents the outward journey. And that outward journey is the journey we walk through this life outwardly, outward expression where others can see. And both of these gimel within and the gimel outward, they're going through the fire. Now, sheen represents fire, and that fire is unto transformation. It's the refiner's fire. Again, for maturity's sake, for us to, the fire is good for us and it burns off all of the wood, the hay, and the stubble, right? So as we're taking this journey, we are seeing that there's this permission for us to walk through the fire of transformation. And the first word, low, well, again, we're reaching that ladder, we're going higher. So we're going higher and going deeper. We're going in and we're outward. So do you see this spatial recognition again? You know, the before me, behind me, on side, above me, below me. There's this like 6 dimensions around us. And I see it all in this word here, or these two words, lo yagash. So as we step in and I would say transmute, take a reflection time to engage the living letters, there's this mystery of treasure for us to uncover. Now, if we take these 3 words, elecha, lo yagash, in English it's toward you, the second, not, or emphatically prohibited, will not, and the third, to approach, to come near now or in the future. So we could translate this, not forgetting, the subject of what, the straightforward meaning, right? Toward you, any and all movement of approach, now or in the future, will not be permitted in any way in regard to the multitude of rebellious entities. Okay, we're going to get to that understanding in a little bit. But just know that toward you, God's hand is there to stay any movement or approach now or in the future, and He will not let anything come near us that is harmful. Again, we have a role to play in that. So let's look at all of our verse 7, and we're going to go into verse 8 because it really does bring a full picture of this interaction here. So verse 7, I'm going to try it one more time here in Hebrew. Yipol mitzadecha elef uchevava miyemenecha elecha lo yagash. So let's expand this with depth of insight, what we've just been through. Any 1,000 in adversarial pursuit shall continually fall at your left side. As their number may exponentially increase, that myriad continues to fall at your right hand, which represents your strength and power. Toward you, any and all movement or approach now or in the future will not be permitted in any way in regard to that multitude. That pursuit is being hedged back. I find that very encouraging, very hopeful. I want to agree with that over and over and over again. And how much do we not see and are protected from the many advances that the enemy has coming toward us? Praise Father. Thank you, Yeshua. Let's look at our verse 8. Rach benecha tabit veshelumat reshamim tirei. You will only look with your eyes and see the recompense of the wicked. Straightforward? Well, you may think so, but let's really look at it and we will gain depth to this. The first word, rach, it is an adverb and it is a bi-letter seed word, meaning it holds the exponential possibilities. So there is possibilities within this word in and of itself. It's not made actual yet. And the meaning of this adverb is only, surely, merely, nothing but. And I'm going to take a Hebraic understanding here for a second. So this word restricts, it narrows our attention of the action and often shows us divine limitations, what Yahweh allows or forbids in regard to the adversary. We haven't gotten to the action yet, so we're setting up our action, and God is saying, I want you to pull in the blinders. Okay? And how do we do that? When we narrow our observation, it's like the hinting of it is that when we take this, we're not seeing all the distractions, okay? So when we're looking, you'll see that it has to do with our eyes, but when we're pulling in the blinders, he's saying only. That means we're letting go of what we're hearing. So we're only seeing. God doesn't want us to hear the enemy's voices. He wants us to ignore his voices. And how much is the chatter, right? That we get pulled into fear or challenged to be fearful. So God is saying only. So only what? Well, that's our next word. So let's look at the engagement right here real quick for rak, which is resh and kof, or kuf. You could see it both ways, pronounced both ways, the same letter. So we are engaging with Yeshua, the mind of Mashiach, the mind of Yeshua, as the priority and first inclination. Okay, so we're realigning, we're aligning with the mind right here. Okay, as our priority and first inclination. And we're stepping into the humility of nothingness and walk beyond time, into the resurrection power of abundant life. This is really powerful. So we're entangled with Yeshua in the mind of Christ, in the mind of Mashiach, as the priority and first inclination, stepping into the humility of nothingness and walk beyond time into the resurrection power of abundant life. Now, what do I mean about humility of nothingness? If nothingness in Hebraic thought is absolutely full of potential. Nothingness doesn't mean empty and void. It is so alive with possibilities. And here, this humility of nothingness really does enter into beyond time, which means you're entering eternity. And in eternity, it's like entering a black hole. There is so much potential there. Kof, a little caveat here, Kof is the only letter that goes beyond the baseline on the Hebrew alphabet. And Kof represents the death and resurrection of Yeshua. So we're going through, like, in order to have the mind of Christ, you've got to go and be identified with his with his burial, his death on the cross. And in that death on the cross, then we are also resurrected with him. Kof gives us the experience, the entanglement with the death and the resurrection of Yeshua. But it's in humility. So the humility of nothingness and walking beyond time we really are now engaging that resurrection power. And what's the purpose of it? It's to distribute abundant life. First, to receive it for ourselves and then give it away, right? Out of our bellies will flow rivers of living water. That's the abundant life. Pretty cool. So let's pull so we just talked about Rach, the narrowing of our view. So let's take the next word, be'enecha. Be'enecha is again a prefix, but here it's a bait. And bait the prefix means the preposition of with, in, or by. Okay. Beit also is the house of intimacy. So it's an invitation for us to first gather with the Father, and then out of that, we're moving forward. And yane, the root word is ayin. It's a plural noun and it means eyes. Now I'm smiling because there's a living letter, ayin, and it really starts this word. Okay, so if you can see the second line here, it starts with an ayin. And ayin being our eyes, here really giving us ayin's intention is to look beyond for insight, right? Raise your eyes up into the heavens and to see what can be seen in the spiritual realm for insight to make a difference. Now, this to me speaks about intercession, but eyes, with our eyes, and then kaf, Sophia again, is the suffix second personal pronoun meaning you or your. So this construct word is with your eyes. Again, a Hebrew understanding, a Hebraic understanding would say this is seeing without touching. It's awareness without interaction or participation. It's simple observation. Remember, our first word was rach. We are only. So we are putting on the blinders, right? We're putting on the blinders and we're looking with our eyes. We're looking for insight and intentionally. We're not touching with our hands. We're standing. We're looking. And in that intense looking and observation, something's going to happen. So we're going to watch, and we're going to see what happens here. So let's take a reflection again. So a reflection, another engagement, being aware of the secret place, looking beyond the surface to see for insight, and receive the fire spark as the righteous son, humbled toward father and brother, to release the fire spark of love through the outstretched palm of the hand into your brother's hidden heart in the earthly realm. This, to me, is this place of standing with Yeshua. Now I'm seeing, right? But when I'm seeing, I'm also seeing the enemy. I could see the enemy come at me for sure, but I'm also seeing the strategy of God coming to me as well. Remember the word toward, that preposition toward you? Not only are we seeing, in the spirit realm, the enemy coming toward us, but we must see the solution coming to us as well. So which are we going to perceive? What are we going to gain? Are we going to solely look at the enemy and fall into the trap and snare of fear and step outside of the provision of Father? Or are we going to see his provision and the strategy to come near? Looking through this living letters right here, okay, the second part says, as the righteous son humbled toward father and brother to release the fire spark of love through the outstretched palm of the hand into your brother's hidden heart in the earthly realm, I have an opportunity to see what it is that's in front of me. Now, if the enemy is personified, in man, and that man is coming at me, we know that we don't wage war with flesh and blood. So we're looking beyond the the tactic of the enemy and represented as the man who's coming at as my brother or my sister coming at and doing something that would hurt me, that would maybe challenge my character or, put just disagree with me, right? I know that it's not the flesh and blood that I'm wrestling with or that the opposition is coming from. In compassion, I see my brother. I see his heart and I see the tormentors that are tormenting him or her. Okay. So if I have eyes to see and hear looking through the living letters, I do. I can see my brother and I can have compassion on my brother like Yeshua, right? He was only moved by compassion. And when he was moved by compassion, he re-identified the people in front of him, those brothers and sisters he loved, right? And is reconciling back to God through himself. We have the opportunity to be the kaf sofit, the outstretched hand of God. Now, the hand kaf is like this, it's a hand. And when we turn it over, we are allowing the blessings to flow into the earth. It's a representation of what I've received, that fire spark, kind of like fire seeds of hope, seeds of life, abundant life. And as I see my brother in front of me, I have compassion, and what I speak kindness. I speak seeds of love. How do you overcome evil? You overcome evil by good. A soft answer turns away wrath. How do you how do you fizzle out anger? Well, you respond gently and kindly. When we can see the strategy that's coming along with the accusation, right? The opportunity to choose the blessing rather than the fear. I choose to bless back. That is taking the return of what's coming at me, an opportunity to sow the seed of life. When we can see this, we have opportunity to make a difference. God's like, just sow the seed. I'll take care of the manifestation of that good seed. We never know what it is that that other person, what that seed will do for them. It may not be immediately, but they will remember our kind word, no doubt. No doubt God is faithful to realign a truth into a reconciliation seed. So let's go on to our third word, tabit. Tabit is the tav, the beit, the yod, and the tet. And it's a verb. It's again, ongoing and future action. Now here, it's interesting in the grammar, it's not the yod that brings it into future. It is the tav. The root word is nabiv or nabav. I think I'm pronouncing that correctly. And it means to look intently, gaze, observe, and focus. Again, with our eyes, our narrowed vision, using our eyes, what we see, and we're intently looking, we're gazing, we're observing. The focus here to look intently, observe, and focus now and in the future. So it's ongoing action and it's as often as needed. So, as often as we are confronted and challenged, we have the opportunity again to see below the surface, to see that which is standing in front of me, and to see the hurt or the tormentors that are hurting. If this is a man, right, my brother or my sister, in front of me, and choosing to see with compassion. All right, so here another Hebraic understanding. This is not merely looking and then looking away without seeing. Okay, this action implies focus and sustained attention as beholding something for a result to gain insight by watching intently. So we are participating in something that we're going to respond to. And this is part of our strategy, right? In courageously standing firm in the truth of Yahweh. We are not forgetting where we're standing. We're not forgetting the hand. We're not forgetting that surrounding armor of protection or our shield of faith. We're standing in it all. We're standing in the secret place. We're standing covered. We're standing in the declaration of who we are. And in this reflection, we come to the cross. This is the Tav. The cross is the ending of a new beginning. Kind of seems counterintuitive, but there's always a new beginning at an ending. So here we're going full circle and coming around again. The cross is the ending of a new beginning to a deeper, intimate relationship, engaging Father's awe spark of creation, which is deposited as fire seeds of life, filling up the honored vessel with treasures to distribute where Holy Spirit leads to sow. This is talking about who we are. We are the treasured possession. We are the treasured vessel, the honored vessel of the Lord, where we are filled with the fire seeds. First, we heal, right? We're healing ourselves. We're healing, meaning we are recognizing who we truly are and where we're standing, who we're standing with, empowered by whom, right? By faith and trust. And we're standing and God is depositing into us. And we take those seeds, and when we're prompted, when we see, we sow them. We sow them in actions, in words, in deeds, in even frequency, even just our breath, in a smile, right? One smile can totally change somebody. However, Holy Spirit leads us, we're sowing seeds of life. So let's look at this phrase here. Rach benecha tavit. Only narrow your attention, focus with your eyes, look with intent, focus, and observe for insight. So we could say here, with only and nothing but your eyes, watch and give a focus, gaze, give a focused gaze and observe for insight to come. So let's go to our final section here. Veshilumat reshayim tirei. Veshilumat is a conjunction vav starting this word, and vav again is and, it's a conjunction, so we're continuing and we're adding to our first phrase. Shalumat is a noun. The root word is shalom. Shalom is feminine, so think receiving. And shalom means repayment, reward, recompense, payment rendered. I don't know if any of you can recognize shalom and know that these are the letters for shalom. Shin, Lamed, Yod, Vav, and Mem Sofit speak shalom. Shalom is present here. We've got this Hebrew insight, okay? So this held in peace, we're seeing this shalom connected with the Vav. So here is the thought of repayment, reward, recompense, payment rendered. It's the complete moral accounting, and it's being realized. It's like the reaping and sowing. So in reaping what one has sown. Now this is both for the righteous, and the righteous, what is being sown or harvested here is protection. Through your faith, you're sowing faith, you're reaping protection. And the immoral, right, the enemy, the myriad, by their intended destruction, they are reaping utter failure of falling, and it's without impact to you, to me. The principle of sowing and reaping, this is related again to shalom. We have nothing, when we stand in shalom, we don't have to worry about the harvest because it's good, it's for our benefit. And when we apply this principle, it's bringing this into a judicial context. This is not a vengeful sense. Okay, but this is of a moral sense. The moral standard has been broken. And it's sowing and reaping, right? So this is the natural law. And what is being made whole through the justice in Yahweh? It's the restoration on both sides. Okay? So both if I'm the one standing, I'm reaping what I'm sowing, protection, and the enemy that coming at me, that's his repayment. His repayment is the judgment, and that judgment is he's continually failing to kill, to steal, and destroy me. And when I look at the reflection here through the living letters, kind of holding all of that and taking a sidestep and looking at the reflection, the connector of heaven and earth, harnessing the frequency of transforming fire, ascending on the fragrance, and descending in the flow of living water through the open window in the new beginning. Again, we have this ascension, and then as we ascend, we descend with blessing. We descend with living water. We descend and become the conduit to bring life and bring hope and bring the restoration and reconciliation into the situation. So let's continue. Veshilumat reshayim tirei. Reshayim. This is a noun and it's plural and it's masculine. So think giving. Wants to give something. And what is it alluding to? The wicked one, the guilty, the morally rebellious. And they want to give their seeds of destruction, right? They want the fear to come forward. Fear ultimately will lead to destruction. The death of something, the death of an idea, the death of a dream when we give into fear. We're not going there. We are transmuting because we're remembering who we are. But this Rashayim, the wicked ones, so these in Hebraic thought, they're not simply bad people, but those actively engaged in rebellion against the order in Yahweh's kingdom. These are often contrasted with the righteous ones, which are called Zedekim. And we are part of the Zedekim. We are the righteous ones in Yeshua. So when the Reshaim, when they're in rebellion against the Yahweh's kingdom, they're in rebellion against us. We represent the kingdom of heaven, right? We are the kingdom of heaven. Of course, they're going to be in rebellion against us. So this is that knowing who we are again. And we're choosing, again, the reflection, we're choosing the mind of Yeshua and receiving the transforming fire for the intent of the heart to be purified so that the insight seen by looking beyond the surface shines in and is true light holding the promise of the reservoir of the eternal life. This is who we are. Again, this theme is really running throughout every reflection. This is who we are. This is what we were made for such a time as this. Our final word, tirei. Tirei is a verb, and again, it's imperfect, so it's future tense. It's ongoing, it's open-ended. You kind of get the verbs are all moving in this now and future. And the root is ra, and it's masculine, and it, again, to see, perceive, and witness. So here we have tira as we are witnessing the Hebraic insight. This is the result of watching. So here, like, remember, we were watching, are narrowing our gaze for a result. This is what it is. We're seeing and looking with insight. We're perceiving that seeing, which we talked about previously, the gazing and watching for insight, indeed results in wisdom and understanding. So we become a witness of the spirit of the fear of the Lord. We are witnessing not just the spirit of the fear of the Lord coming forward, but rendering out the repayment, the recompense, that harvest, right? This is brought upon the spirit of the fear of the Lord. The reflection here, the mark, so we've got the tav at the beginning, the mark of full expression and promise of a new beginning for the head of a new season. We are engaging with the first and foremost perspective, the love of Father, and releasing it on our breath, which is the gift from Him in the first place. We again are that conduit, the conduit from heaven, manifesting it on earth and releasing it for great impact. This is why we're here. When we take this final phrase, Veshelumat Rashayim Tirei, and the reward of the deeds of the morally rebellious to the kingdom of Yahweh is seen with insight and understanding and wisdom. So we could say, and the reward of those deeds sown by the morally rebellious toward the kingdom of Yahweh is seen with insight, understanding, and wisdom. The righteous one has become a witness for justice, measure for measure, of that which the wicked have sown with intent to harm, right? The wicked comes to sow anything that will kill, steal, or destroy. Again, continuing, the manifestation has been their own reward. So they're reaping, they're harvesting what they've sown. But for us, we will not be touched by their malicious exploits because you and I will see their reality. Because we have transmuted the temptations and snares, fear wrapped in chaos, we've transmuted it. We're finding Yahweh's promises, those promised doors of escape, right? We're looking and finding the doors of escape through the living letters. We are learning the strategies to stand strong in our faith, truth, and confidence, entangled in Yeshua. Entangled in Yeshua, Yahweh Elohim, and Ruach HaKodesh. And well, I see for sure, I'm hoping that you're seeing that our shield is firmly in place. Our armor is fully surrounding us. And it's creating this force field hedge of protection round about us. And can you hear Yahweh saying to us, as He said to even Joshua, be strong and be very courageous? We're seeing the enemy, but we're also seeing the strategy to overcome, to diffuse the situation, to sow blessings instead of repeating the offender. We are transmuting the enemy's tactics and repaying from us. We speak life. We give the opposite of what's coming at us. Let God deal with the recompense of the wicked. We're not to touch it. We're just looking. So let's take the verse 8 here. Rav beyacha tabit veshalumat reshayim tirei. And we can expand it and say, with only and nothing but our eyes, watch and give a focused gaze and observe for insight to come. And the reward for the deeds sown by the morally rebellious toward you, toward me, and we are the kingdom of Yahweh. We see with insight, understanding, and wisdom. The righteous one has become a witness for the justice, measure for measure, of that which the wicked have sown with intent to harm us. The manifestation has been their own reward. You will not be touched by their malicious exploits, but you will see their reality. This is the expanded version of verse 8. So when we look at the full expanse and then come back to condensed and read it like more how we would read it in our Bible, as I read it, may you see and feel the depth of it. 1,000 may fall at your side, 10,000 at your right hand, but it won't come near you. Only keep your eyes open, and you will see how the wicked are punished. I sure hope this has given you some really good insights and the awareness of who you truly are. And so let me pray and then we can go for discussion. Father, thank you for this moment. Thank you for your teaching. Thank you for your insights. And thank you for the stirring up of our true identity when we're faced with the accusations, we're faced with an encounter where the enemy wants to trap us, to snare us, to pull us into fear or forget who we truly are. Father, you've given us strategies and you've given us promises that the strategies will come. And thank you that looking through the living letters and the reflections, that we are seeing that we were made for such a time as this. We were made to step into our healing and transmuting the traumas of our life into blessings, not only for ourselves, but to give away the hope to others who desperately need it. Father, may we practice at every turning point. Practice seeing your face. Practice knowing that you're here. And not just practice it, it is our true reality. That the spiritual realm is open to us, but it's open for blessing. It's open for correcting in love, moved on compassion, like Yeshua showed us. Thank you, Father, for moving us in such a way tonight, moving me in such a way to bring hope, to be a hope dispenser, to see keys that my brother might need, and to sow hope, to sow love, to sow in kindness, to bring about harmony, to bring about your truth and your faithfulness forward as we stand in who we truly are, and we are identified in you. And I do pray, Father, the way you've asked us to pray in your word, as I declare who we are and we are named in you. Yivarechecha Adonai ve'yishmerecha. You are so good, Father. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yihunecha. Oh Lord, I know that you are good and you are faithful. And your name is upon us. I need to start again. And I'll just say it in English, Lord, for you honor that. The Lord bless you and keep you. The Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. The Lord lift up his countenance upon you and give you peace. Thank you, living letters, Yeshua HaMashiach, for granting us your peace, for being part of who we are in you, entangled for all of eternity. And thank you that we live in your resurrection power today. For it's in Yeshua's name I pray. Amen.
I'm lost in love. this was absolutely beautiful. It's like my heart is full, it's like, oh my God. And I just want to share as we're going along. It's like, you know, it kind of brings you into speechless peace, just speechless peace. And I wrote down, it just humbles me to realize it's all about him. He has me, so I don't have to be concerned about my needs. They're taken care of. But it is about him being released into the earth through each of us as we come into that understanding and also impart the same understanding to others as we realize it is about them knowing him.
Yes, so good. Thank you. So true.
It's like, wow. It's like he keeps bringing us in closer, deeper. It's so beautiful.
Hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So, so good.
I love
Any,
his class.
thank you.